Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for joining me today. So I've had a lot of questions about assessment, especially in the online learning platform. Many schools are closed at the moment because of the coronavirus, and a lot of questions have come up about how do we actually assess students and what kind of guidance can I give. So if you'd like to hear more about my ideas in terms of assessment in a virtual online environment, then please keep on watching. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell underneath if you want to know when I release videos. Okay, so assessment. Well, let's first of all define the different types of assessment. We have diagnostic assessment that normally is conducted before you start a particular unit, and that really helps us to identify where students are in terms of their learning and their understanding and their background knowledge. We have formative assessment, which really is ongoing throughout the unit, and it's never graded, but it really does inform us of what we need to tweak and what we need to change in terms of our lessons and in terms of what we present to students and our instruction. And then we have the summative assessment. This is the question that's come up the most. How do we actually execute summative assessment in an online virtual environment? So my number one suggestion would be to use authentic performance assessment task. And this can be done as an individual, or you can ask small groups to collaborate to complete this particular assessment task. Now, there are a variety of different authentic performance assessment tasks, and I'll link some websites to some great exemplars in the comment section below. So please take a look at those. But the actual idea is that you give students this problem that's in a context, in an authentic, real context, and they have to be able to solve that problem through a variety of different ways. It could be building a website, and then students are having to make different instructional videos or write explanations of different aspects of a particular problem. And the problem could be a maths problem, of course, but it actually could be addressing one of the Sustainable Development Goal problems that the UN have released. And I think trying to focus on those 17 SDGs is probably a great way to help students understand global citizenship and some of the problems that we actually have with sustainable development around the world. So what does an authentic performance assessment look like? I use a variety of different frameworks to try and help plan. So you might have heard of the GRASPS plan or the RAFS plan. The RAFS plan, and I'll put a link in the section below, is really thinking about what role you want students to take in that authentic performance assessment task. Who is the audience? What's the format? What's the actual task? And using very strong verbs to be able to explain the instructions of that task. Now, in terms of the assessment and the rubric that you're going to use to be able to guide students to success criteria, I think you could have a group rubric that explains the descriptors for the different success criteria, or you can have individual success criteria where even though the student is partaking in a group activity, they are responsible for certain elements of the authentic performance assessment task. Now, I have an example from the maths classroom. So if you're not from the maths classroom, I think you'll still be able to get the idea. So I'll put a link in the comment in the section below, and it was actually asking my students to put together a website explaining the different examples and the different types of proof by induction. Now, I asked students to gather in groups of 4. They could choose their own groups, but each particular person had a very specific role, and there were group success criterias that were outlined, but there were also individual success criterias that were also outlined. It was one of those web quests. Web quests used to be really popular about 10 years ago, and I still think that they're great fun in terms of asking students to explore different areas on the web. But it's important that I think at the same time we give them the guidance and we give them the framework, so that we don't say to students, just go and Google any information about this particular topic. There needs to be some scaffolding, some structure, and also you need to be giving some very carefully worded prompts to really guide your students towards what you want them to conceptually understand. So I know that there are a lot of other ideas in terms of how we can actually execute summative assessments in a virtual environment. I would love to hear your ideas. Please put a comment in the section below if you would like to share any of your ideas. And thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.